So, welcome back for the final part of core Yoshimitsu moves, the best moves that you need to have always in your mind and that ties the room together if you're playing against higher level players or just want to get a basic core gameplay that you can revolve your gimmicks around. Today we're gonna cover the last 5 moves I think are exceptionally important for this character. If I didn't cover any and you watched all 4 episodes, leave a comment and tell me which one I forgot. But today we're gonna make it a little bit quicker and jump right into it. The first one is his back 1 string. Back 1 is a 17 frame high, which is kinda slow, but it's +7 on hit. And you can extend this to I think up to 7 spins, and then it's +5 and stays +5 if you connect the second one. On block, this string is very interesting because it is -4 if you do +4 if you do 2 spins and +1 if you do 1 spin. They can actually, this doesn't jail, so they could duck it, but if they block for instance 2 spins, you can get a rage drive almost uncontested. And it has very decent tracking to Yoshimitsu's right, which is good. But doesn't track at all to his left, and his tracking issue is definitely to his left, so it's good that it tracks one way, but it would be better if it tracks the other way. So first and foremost, this move is good if you have rage, because the situations afterwards is very dangerous for the opponent. You have a good mix up between the rage drive and down forward 1+2/2, which afterwards you can use the rage drive as well. Or any low really after you get this on block. It's a good tool to get in, a little bit better than Y running 3 in my opinion, even though it doesn't give as much plus frames. It's a good round ender because now you can go into back 1-1 down 3-3, which is pretty gimmicky, but as a round ender actually decent. And one more application against Akuma. This is a very good tool to get him out of the air, but only if you block the move that led into the demon flip mix-up. So if you, I don't know if it is wild standing 3 or something on hit, then this is too slow because it's 17 frames. But if he does wild standing 2 into the jump, you can actually press back 1 and the hitbox is high enough that it will connect a lot of the time. Or you could use 3+4 to reset the situation. All in all, a very good alternative to running 3 if they're not ducking, and afterwards of course if you're +7 you should take your turn. This is the time. Down to 2 is uninterruptible and cannot be sidestepped. It is very similar to the situation after down to 2 on hit, so down forward 2, down to 2, down back down forward 1+2 are all very good options, because at -7 the opponent is going to be hesitant to press any buttons, and a very overlooked move actually. The second move we are going to cover is not down for 3, we did that. It's actually while standing 1+2. The move is not as good as it was, because in Tekken Tag Tournament 2 this was actually a buffered Kicho parry. So if I pressed here, it actually option selected, which is very good. But it's a 10 to 11 frame mid with, yeah, actually 0 range, so you have to keep that in mind. But you can actually punish things like Brian's forward with this. It is whooping +8 on hit. And now we'll show you something very interesting. So if I hit down forward 3 and I do my checking mid with while standing 4, what the hell? No, please get hit by this. I'm pretty sure you can still step it. Oh, Yoshimitsu seems not to be able to. Good characters can step this. But while standing 1+2 for some reason, even though it has virtually no tracking when down for 3 for instance is blocked, on hit it is actually a very decent option. Of course at +4 you have other options, but you get my point. This is a very quick For instance, if I want to get out of pressure, then I can throw this move. I want to check him if he's on plus. There are a lot of situations where while standing 4 can be stepped, for instance, after this, but while standing 1+2, it's actually very difficult to step. A lot of people prefer Kicho, while standing 4 into Kicho mix-ups, but I like this move. I like this move a lot, and sometimes if I feel like it, I just throw it out and it gives me pretty decent reward. Of course not damage-wise, but frame-wise, because +8, even though it creates a little bit of distance, is still very, very annoying. And it's a move that a lot of people don't really look at, because while standing 4 most of the time takes the place. I don't want to say it's better than wild standing 4, and I'm not gonna cover wild standing 4 because it's a very generic move, even though the Kicho transition is very good in Yoshimitsu's case. But I think wild standing 1+2 is actually not as generic, and it's a very good tool for him that is overlooked from most players. Next one is down forward 1+2. So, the move got buffed range in Season 3. And I actually forgot to record the jab before. It's pretty slow low at 26 frames. So offline it's definitely seeable. It has tracking if the opponent steps. Actually to both sides now. I don't know why I could step this. Okay, it doesn't have any tracking to his left, sadly. But sometimes it does, like this. But if they commit to a sidewalk, it is actually very easy to sidewalk this. But on block, it's only -11, which is very good for Yoshimitsu. And if you condition your opponent enough, he's gonna get clipped more by this than you think. The range was always not as good. So at max range, if I block a jab, for instance, I could backdash this. But now it's a little bit more tricky, actually, to do this. If you're very sharp, you can still do it, because the range is still not good. But now it is decent. So in the open, it's hard to set up. But for instance, after back 1 on block, this is actually a decent option. The good thing is that the extension is 0 on hit, which can set up a rage drive or a CD2 if they want to press jabs or anything. Or of course flash. And the move, sometimes you just need 35 damage for a low. I think it's 32 without rage. Is nothing to joke about. This is actually good damage for Yoshimitsu standards. And sometimes you just need the chunks. And the good thing is, if they don't low parry this, you're not gonna get launched. Even the extension, I think, is -13 if I remember correctly. Let me double check before I say something wrong. 1 sec. I think it's -13 actually. Yeah. So you're not gonna get launched for it. And I see this as in the same regard that I see Miguel's down back 1. Down back 1 is seeable, and a good player will launch it most of the times. But in a clutch where nerves are flattering, where pressure is on, this is barely seeable. It's not a snake edge if you do it point blank. So the opponent has to have good reactions. Very close to down back 1 from Miguel. And this can score damage if you use it wisely. Not to mention, if you in +4 in crouch, Yoshimitsu does have decent tools. Although it's very similar to down forward 3, and I showed you the options afterwards because it's +4 as well. I rather go for while standing 1 afterwards. But of course, if you need the damage, you can also go for a sweep hoping for a counter. And if you're in no sword stance, oh boy, this gets scary. A very underrated move, and at the wall I actually use it. I actually use it a lot, because even if they block the first hit, they're afraid of the second hit. I go unpunished for using this so much that I really feel like I'm not afraid of the -11 I'm taking if this is blocked, if you get what I mean. And if I'm plus frames and I'm in the opponent's face, it depends on how much damage I need. Most likely I'm gonna do this. But sometimes, if the time is running out, there's only 15 seconds and I need to make the comeback, I will use this. It's not that shabby, actually. Not the best move in the world, but decent. The next one is 2-1. A move that is actually mentioned very late by me, but it is very high rated for me. His 2 jab string in general is decent. Like 2-2, 2 down 3, 2-1 now. All very, very decent moves. 2-3 used to be the shareholder from 2-1, but 2-1 is now definitely better. So, at first, most people don't notice, but the tracking on the second hit of 2-1 is very important. I will try to showcase, because I don't know why, but sometimes I have big trouble sidestepping after the 2-jab is blocked. You can sidewalk it, but it is hard. The second hit actually has very decent tracking to your left if they only step. It is hard to show. I actually will try to show it differently, but you have to keep my word for it. This is actually very annoying to deal with. I don't know how to do this actually, sorry. But the second hit has decent tracking to his left, which is very, very good. Its natural counter hit 10 frame jab string, which is very handy at the wall. It doesn't have tracking to the other side, I have to mention that. It's a pretty good setup, for instance, after this at the wall, because you zero, and then you can use this to wall splat them. It's very good after they blocked up for 3, because you can actually confirm the counter hit, and if you don't score a counter hit, you just cancel it. And then you have some mental frames, but you have to condition the opponent to make this better. The string itself, for me in my mindset when I use it, not after I have plus frames, is kind of, I want to interrupt the opponent, but I don't want to commit to a Kicho parry or to flash, because this can be heavily punished by my opponent if he reads it correctly. But for instance, if I'm -3 or -4, not if I'm -6 or something, I will use this. If I want to interrupt the flow of the opponent, if I want to score some damage, but I don't want to commit to a flash that can get me launched, I will commit to this a lot of the times, more often than I commit to flash. And if I'm slightly plus, for instance, after hitting this, I like this move a lot, way more than, as I said, committing to flash. The knockdown is very, very good, to the point where you can dash up CD1 and you see the distance. It's quite safe at this distance. And the same goes for Kicho forward 1, which you can make +4, and that means it's -12. So your options are very decent after hitting this move. And you can also just 1-up 3, which I like to do sometimes, and take your +9, and then I can use this afterwards, for instance. So the move is, in my opinion, the safe counter hit tool that you want to keep in mind to interrupt your opponent when you have the life lead. Then the move becomes very, very good, because it also covers some stepping to your weak side. And most people, when they have slight frame advantage, they will step and look if you did the flash or the Kicho parry, and then this move comes in quite handy. The last move we're gonna cover today is Dragonfly 4. Dragonfly 4 is my favorite move out of the Dragonfly stance. It is 18 frame, it's an 18 frame mid, which got buffed actually, I think in Season 2, which gives a huge counter hit combo for big damage. 31 damage is nothing to laugh about. And the combo you're getting is so huge that after they got hit by this, they're gambling for their life at the wall, in my opinion, if you do the right combo. And because Dragonfly itself has very, very good highs and lows. This is a good low, +6. This is a very, very good high. The grab is unbreakable. But before you can utilize this mix-up, use Dragonfly 4 over and over again. +14, so the same situation after hitting down forward 1-2 on normal hit, on counter hit, or the extension on normal hit, but with a lot of distance. Which means that forward 1+2 is a very good option, running 3 is a very good option, and up forward 3+4 into 1+2 cancel for another Dragonfly mix-up are my preferred options. Of course, you can also check with down 2-2, sidestep 1, or dash up for a low. That's all very good options. After +14, you can actually do whatever you want. And the distance is also good for applying a Kicho mix-up. So, but what you're aiming for is first and foremost this wall splats, which makes Dragonfly a very good stance against the wall. Second of all, on block it is -4, where I showed you Rage Drive are good options, CD2 is a good option, Flash is a good option, Kichu Parry is a good option if you need the damage. In my opinion, Sidestep 1, Sidestep Block are the options that you should go for the most. Sidestep Block, especially in this situation, because at -4 you can evade a lot of stuff and just see how your opponent deals with this situation. And after you really trained them to not press buttons and not like duck, then the grab becomes so more powerful. And also keep in mind, it tracks to one side, to his right, which is unfortunate, but still decent that it tracks to one side. So, and that wraps up this series. I'm pretty sure that I didn't cover every move, so if you have one move in your mind and you ask yourself why he didn't cover 4-4-2, this is so good against big characters. So I'm too shit to do the just frame. If you think, why didn't he cover upward 3 and all this stuff, then please let me know. I will discuss with you what my thoughts on the things are. I will make some guides for his stances as well. I hope you enjoyed this series. I got a lot more love than I expected for being away for so long. I'm very grateful that there are people watching over and over again, leaving nice comments, and I want to say thank you. I know my editing skills are not the best. I know this content is very raw and very specific. We Yoshimitsu players are not as many, and people who play this character are enthusiastic about the character and know a lot of stuff. And I think my role that I can provide for you is giving you deep knowledge that I gathered over time, and to kind of teach you away from only using gimmicks and try to be solid with Yoshimitsu to apply gimmicks. But myself, I was a gimmicky Yoshimitsu player for all Tekken Tag Tournament 2. And there is one German player, which name is Gizmo, which always was way better than me, and I watched his tournament matches. And I saw that he played way different. I got lucky and played some matches with him, and he plays a very solid, very defensive keep out Yoshimitsu, and he just succeeds with it. So I want to share this kind of knowledge here, but of course also a little bit of gimmicky tech. So I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye. I have a new intro.